Hey everyone, it's Sibel from U-BRAID-IT, and today I am going to show how to do the braided breast collar using the flat braid style 3 along with the back braid technique that is found in our book called How to Braid Quality Custom Tack. This is one that I did out of Diablo Canyon. It's not completed yet because I haven't done the down strap yet. But I really wanted to try it in our new tie-dye called Cayenne Cowgirl. I think it's going to turn out really fun, so stay tuned. So the first thing you're going to need is a copy of our How to Braid Quality Custom Tack book, because the formula for custom work is in this along with the back braid technique. So if you turn to page 10, you're going to find the formula, and disregard the part about pre-shrinking your cord or pre-shrunk cord length formula for custom work. That will not apply to mohair. So it's 4 times the desired finished length. My strap is going to be 15 inches. 15 times 4 equals 60 inches or 5 feet. So I'm going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a 6 or a 12 strand braid, flat braid, but it only has 6 strands because it's doubled over. So I'm going to need a total of 6 strands at 5 feet. Here I am with my martingale center. You can use a ring. I've attached it to my braider's take-up rail, which I absolutely love. And you'll see that I used simply paracord to hold this. And it's really important that this part be straight, because if it was like this, it's really going to affect my braiding. So that's why I have the 2 paracord strands tied. Then I have a quick grip that's just got this take-up reel attached to the table. And again, I've got 6 strands of 8-ply mohair, and when they are braided up, because they're doubled, it's going to make 12. The flat braid style 3 is on page 19 of our How to Braid book. So we'll start with this braiding technique, and then when we get down to where we're going to attach the hardware, we'll jump over to page 22 and go from there. Here we go. We're going to take the top cord, it's going to go around the back and go under, back to the top, over, the back, under, 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 the top, over, the back, under. And then this cord, you're going to take your index finger, pull this cord over, and pull these strands down like so. Don't worry about them being overly tight right now, because I can do that on the next row. So again, top one goes around back, under, top over, back under, top over, back under, top over, back under, top over, back under, top over. And now this is the important part. My index finger, get it through there, is going to push that cord up, and then this cord that I just braided across drops down. Then we take the cord that just got braided up and pull it to the side. Then we're going to start snugging these up. Again, make sure that your martingale center is even, because you want your braid to come out even and not lopsided. And then I'll take this one and I might tighten it up a little bit. So you're just going to continue with that all the way down until we get to where we're going to back braid. It's really important when you're braiding to check the back and make sure you don't have any crossed in the wrong spot. I just did that and had to go back simply because this tie-dye really does play with your eye. Notice how I have the cord wrapped around my hand after it comes through. I like to wrap it around. And then you can crank up on your take-up reel. You want to have good tension on this. You don't want it to get too long and have it get sloppy on you. I am ready to start my back braid technique to hardware. I have braided to 8 inches. It's going to take 7 inches to do this back braid. And if you're following the directions in the book for the back braid, it's not really going to apply because the formula in there is for paracord, which is smaller diameter than the mohair. So we had to figure this out as far as where to start our back braid. That was a little trial and error, but we're going to give this free info to you guys out there. So I braided to 8 inches, or a total of 16 or 15 rows to start this, to have a 15-inch strap. Okay, so the last cord that I braided across is going to get tied up. So I just wrap it around and tie it up like so. Then I'm going to do one more braid across. And here's the kind of the tricky part. I want this to be kind of open through here because this mohair can sometimes be difficult to pull the cord through. Okay, so here's my ring. Here's my ring, and I've tied it to my waist, which is really handy because it'll help hold the ring in place when you start your back braid. So you can do that with a piece of mohair long enough to go around, and I've done that, and my strand I braided across goes down, goes like over. Give myself a little bit of room here because it's going to take room to back braid. And then I'm going to take my hemostat and we're going to pull it through that opening. Okay. Then this cord is going to go up, and the one that just went through the tunnel, the little channel there, is going to come down. Okay, actually I'm going to pull this up just a little bit so I don't have a lot to work with when I go to back braid, and then I'm going to tighten this up. And this is all in the book. It's on page 22 of the How to Braid book, and the technique is back braiding to hardware. And it is just so much easier to tie the ring to your waist instead of having it just flopping there and not knowing if it twisted around and all for when you go to do your next braid, next row of braiding. Okay, so now we're going to go and do another one. Same technique. If she can get this. Okay. And that comes out to the side. So when you're looking at the piece of mohair, it's got a little twist to it down to the ring. Okay, so this is where it starts to get really technical. And as I had mentioned before, the tie-dye can make it just really hard. You got to make sure that you always have front and back cords when you can put your finger through and you have a channel, because it's very, very easy, especially with this multicolor, to get your cords twisted around. So you will see that I've done, how many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I thought there was 6, 6. Is it just 5? 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, 5 of these back braid rows. So now I'm down to my last couple of rows, and it's going to change. It's going to be, we're going to do things a little different on the last one. Okay, so I just want to explain that when you come down to this ring, before this cord goes through the channel, that the thing that's making the twist is you go over the ring, and then once this cord goes through the channel and it drops down, that is what's creating the twist. So you don't create, like, you don't create the twist when you're doing it. It doesn't happen until this cord actually drops down. Okay, so here's the cord that was braided across with. I'm holding it up here with this finger, and we're on our last one, so I'm going to go behind back, and again, keep it straight. Over, under, you got 2 layers here. Over, under the back, over the top, under the back, over the top, under the back, over the top, and this comes down. And it gets harder the closer you get to the end because it starts to get tighter. And I actually did allow myself more mohair. I said 5 feet, but I may have done like 5.5 feet, just because I knew that it would get tight like this at the end. And it's just easier when you have more to work with. It may look like you got a lot out to the side, but it can be a challenge. And then you want to, after you braid across, that's a good time to really start pulling these so you don't have to wait until it's to your back braid to do it, and tighten these up a bit. And of course, you've got, these are going to be a little more raised than these back here, because that's where your cord's going through. So you want to try and just tidy it up and make it so it doesn't have so many hills and valleys, and get this baby tight. Okay, so now my last one, oops, this one here, you guys can notice this string cord here, that looks like it needs to be tightened just a little bit. And so then I'm going to do, okay. All right. I have been doing this type of braiding since I was a teenager. So don't think that you're gonna, don't be hard on yourself and think if you don't get it right the first time, just keep trying. All right, so I've got my very, very last cord here on the outside, and notice I have my finger through here holding these cords up. So this cord is going to go around the back. Where did it go? Okay, this, hopefully I didn't mess up. Okay, right. All right, so I'm going to bring this down here. It goes around the back. Over, under, where'd it go? Over, under, over. So you're just weaving this. And then you want to make sure you've got a channel there. There's my channel. Okay, but this has to go through there. So how are we going to do that? Well, I've actually, if you can't get your hemostat, sometimes your hemostat wants to grab onto the mohair. So I kind of, if I can just move a little closer so I can give it some room, and then it wants to start applying it a little bit. It can be just a real pain. But it's doable if you take your time. I know. Actually, let me grab a different hemostat. Let me grab a cryo, come from this way, and try and find my channel. And move it down just a bit so I can at least get my finger in there. There. Where did that go? Where did that go? Sometimes I wonder. what I've gotten myself into. Okay, there, I got my finger in at least, so that's what I want to do. All right, so this cord's going to come down, and instead of going straight up, it's going to go like so in front. So that created a loop there. And that's shown in the book. It's the last illustration on page 23. Okay, and then this goes through the channel. All right. And that, my friends, is the back braid technique with hardware. Now the fun part is we get to go back and tighten this all up. Okay, so here is my completed strap before I start to tighten up the back braid. And just to give you an idea as to how much it's going to be tightened up, this strap is going to be a 15-inch strap when I'm done. And right now it's at 17 and a half, and that's going to vary depending on how loose you make when you're doing your back braid. Okay, so this thing's going to shrink up approximately 2.5 inches. And so what we do is, I like to just kind of start down here at the bottom and start working these cords up one at a time. Every one of these, where it comes out, is a cord that you can follow back and start tightening up. And it's important not to tighten up one too much. You want to work your way up through to each evenly, because otherwise it'll make your strap kind of funky. So and again, I've done this enough times that it's easier for me, but with the tie-dye it can be a little tricky. So you can see like this red turns into this green, and then it goes to green, and then it goes to black. So you just have to pay attention to what you're doing. And especially with the Mohair, the 8-ply, you can see how it's got that little bit of a twist in it. And sometimes when you go to tighten it, it wants to pull up kind of with a kink. So you just got to play with it a little bit. Okay, so then I'm going to pull that through there. And again, don't tighten it too much. Okay, so this one's up here, jumps down here, comes through here, here, here. I don't know if I did that other one next to it. And you'll just go back and forth and back and forth and start pulling all these cords until they're all nice and even. You want it to look like this. You want it to be like this seamless transition, so that when you look at the strap, you cannot really tell that it's where the back braid is. And that's just comes with getting good at it. Let's do this guy here. If you've never done this before, the back braid, I would suggest practicing with the paracord that comes with our book, because it is so much easier to work with than the Mohair. And if you do decide to do one of these breast collars, you might want to try and do a solid color or work with solid color strands rather than this tie-dye at first, because it's tricky. All All right, so I'll just keep doing this through the whole thing, going back to this one, going up. And then when I am done with it, I'll show you guys and how we finish it off. So you can see this is starting to take shape here, and you're going to want to start pulling some of these outside cords down. Just be careful when you grab the mohair that you grab the entire piece. We'll just keep working our way down, playing with this. Start to snug it up. Okay. I would encourage you to use paracord to practice this with before attempting the mohair, because it's a lot easier to work with. And then when you do go, if you do decide to do this breast collar with the mohair, you might want to try with solid color. Oh, now you can see what happens if you don't get it. If you don't pull them all, you're going to end up pulling one because it's twisted. You want to make sure you get them all pulled together. Okay. So I'll just keep working all this so that it looks, this part of the strap should look like this up here when we're done. Here is the completed back braid technique. And see how tidy it looks, so that when I get these strands cut, it's going to look similar to this strap. You shouldn't be able to really tell where you started and where you ended your strap. And this is an extremely strong way of attaching your hardware to hardware. And so I will take my scissors and I'm going to snip it close, being careful not to cut any of the surrounding. I could apply some Eileen's fabric glue there if I wanted. I know Rebecca has taken her commercial machine and made a stitch with clear thread to hold it, but it's pretty good as far as the stability and being tight in there. I mean, that is not going anywhere. So that's my strap, and hope you guys have enjoyed this little tutorial. If you have any questions, please feel free to email us at info@U-BRAID-IT.com, and remember, you can buy all of your supplies at U-BRAID-IT.com.